Good evening, all. Just setting up this live stream really quickly. Obviously, we're here because we were not able to get Black Power Magic Hour up for you guys this week. What is up? Oh my god, this is so annoying. Come on, Google, get your ish together. So they're not allowing me to change my thumbnail. Utter fucking garbage. What are you guys doing at Google? What are you doing? This is like, guys, what are you doing? I'm just trying to work out a couple of things here. So, my apologies. It looks like there's an issue with YouTube. Maybe I can go in and change the thumbnail later. But this is pretty irritating. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. I want to welcome those who would normally be looking for Black Power Magic Hour, and again, unfortunately, we were not able to. Thanks, Jimmy Reese, for showing some love on the Facebook side of things. But yeah, we're gonna keep it moving. Yeah, so we didn't, we couldn't get Black Power Magic Hour up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to just leave you guys with nothing. So I'm here tonight. Let me handle one more piece of business before we get started. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna get started. Yeah, we're just gonna get started. course, we're going to start this party chat and invite the main man, Serial. One of these days, he's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to join up. Got my little cup of water here. Hopefully, I'll get a protein shake too. I've been getting on my oh wait. I'm so used to playing Infinite Warfare. I've been really getting my clanging and banging on here in my house. You know, I would tell you to run to this one particular website, but the problem is they're all out of stock because so many people realized that if they were going to get their fitness on, they couldn't really safely go to a gym. So, but anyway, I purchased these dumbbells about 10 years ago, called Iron Master. Now, many of you may have heard of like the Bowflex Select Tech or something like that. I really thought that, you know, those dumbbells would like really be cool or what have you, but they're plastic, and you know, they're kind of complicated to use. With, you know, it seems, you know, the design seems like it's, you know, easy to use, but it really isn't. And you know, because they have to make space for all of the plates, even when you're not using most of the plates, it's too clunky, it's too big. And of course, because it's plastic, you can't drop them because they'll break and you won't be able to use them at all. But also because they're plastic, they tend to be a lot larger than they need to be. So I ended up getting these adjustable dumbbells from a company called Iron Master. And they, you know, the handles are 10 pounds. And then you could put on 2.5 or 5 pound plates all the way up until you can get to 75 pounds on both dumbbells. And let me tell you, when I'm not able to get to the gym and I'm really on my grind, I'm on my shit, being able to go from 2.5 to 75 pounds, there's a lot of different things that you can do with a combined resistance of 150 pounds. Even if you're much stronger, of course, I'm much stronger than moving 150 pounds around. You know, my bench was well over 200 pounds. My deadlift was over 400 pounds. My squat was approaching 300 pounds. So, you know, I'm not looking to break any strength world records with these dumbbells, but when it comes to getting the blood pumping, getting the good movement patterns in, manipulating your body to put on muscle, which if you know what you're doing, like I know what I'm doing, you can do some decent work with 75 pound dumbbells and everything in between 2.5 pound plate all the way up to the full 75 pounds. So the sad thing is that if you go to the Iron Master website, Iron Master is they're sold out. Like, they are holding lotteries for their product because, you know, they can't have their workers in the shop to create the products. And when they do, you know, when they're able to get the products completed, there's so much demand that people have to basically win the lottery for a chance of buying them. They are rather expensive if you don't understand fitness. They seem expensive. They cost less than 10 sessions with me. Even at, I believe it's $750. That's about 7.5. No, 750. Yeah, that's like 6 sessions with me, 5.5 sessions with me, something like that. Anyway, so more along the lines of tonight. This is a place where people are allowed to speak their mind. Of course, with TSP coming, the Talking Shit podcast, getting closer to being ready to launch, that is definitely going to be the platform where you're not going to see like a lot of gameplay action. You're going to see is basically going to be us having conversations and, you know, episodes where myself and my co-host Captain Paul, we're going to be having the conversations with you on a variety of different topics. So in honor of Black Power Magic Hour not being able to air this week, you know, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys to talk about the subjects that are important to you. And I mean, it's not that I don't already open this platform for that, but I'd like the focus to be on some of these things. So, you know, some of the things that are happening right now that I think are pretty hard hitting is the issues that we're seeing happening to the power grid in Texas, and some of the people on the left who have seemed to taken a sadistic pleasure in seeing people that they believe don't share their political ideology and taking a sadistic pleasure in their misfortunes. So I want to talk about that a little bit if you guys want to. When it comes to $GME, one of the forum members on Wall Street Bets being sued, and you know the charges that they're trying to bring on this guy, complete bullshit, complete utter bullshit. It's almost like they are trying to deflect from the fact that some of these hedge funders got caught with their fucking pants down, shorting more stocks than actually existed. So, or shorting more shares, I should say, than actually existed. I also want to talk about this Colorado City mayor guy talking about how the strong will survive and calling people lazy because the power grid is out. Telling people that the power company that they pay their bills to every month don't owe them power. Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit too, if you guys are willing to. Or you guys could just, you know, listen to me rage at this bullshit ass game. But, you know, I wanted to do Black Power Magic Hour some kind of justice today. There was also something else that got my attention as well. I was talking to a friend about the premise of a film and how I thought that the premise of this particular film, I'm not going to say what it was, but I thought it was very powerful in telling the stories of certain brown people who were disadvantaged, disenfranchised, abused, and oppressed, and telling their story from their side. But in trying to have this conversation, my buddy, their thought was that it was white people telling the story, and it doesn't matter, you know, because of the kind of people who needed to hear that story, they, I guess having something to do with their ethnicity or their standing as white people with some sort of privilege. And it didn't really quite sit right with me because, one of the things that I understand as a minority in this country is that if you don't change the minds and hearts of the racial majority in this country, you're going to be treading water at best. You're not going to make any real changes. And the lead actors are very famous in this particular film. They're very famous. And they created this film at a time where we were getting a lot of war propaganda from Hollywood. We had troops on the ground in Iraq. We had troops on the ground in Afghanistan. And we had a bunch of American actors and actresses putting out propaganda. But these two particular well-known actors decided to tell a different story. But for whatever reason, some people that I know these are people I respect their opinions. It just kind of feels like no matter what people try to do to try to show some sort of solidarity or some sort of understanding on any level, it's still not good enough. On Black Power Magic Hour, we've been accused multiple times of being racist on the show. Simply because the title of the show, the name of the program is Black Power Magic Hour. But it does bother me when I see that there are people making efforts to tell the stories of people of color around the world and to humanize their struggles. And for some people, but if they didn't make those efforts, it would be seen as part of structural systemic racism. But when they do make the effort, it's just, bare bones, bare minimum. It doesn't sit right in my soul. I'm a person, I value efforts that people make a little bit more than I value the outcome. Because I think a lot of humanity is lost in our society. I think it's lost in our society where we've become so results oriented, like, what have you done for me lately? And there are so many people in this country from all walks of life, not just working hard every day, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80 hours a week to feed their families, but there are a lot of people who are working hard to try to be better people every day. They don't always go about it the right way. Sometimes a little misguided, but they're making the effort. And for the type of person that I am, I would like to see us give more credit to people for trying to make the effort to be better people on a daily basis. You can say whatever you want about professional athletes and how they perform, or when we sit down to play Call of Duty and how we perform on a match-by-match basis. You can say what you want about that. But how much of us really give the credit for people at least making an effort? We're very quick to cancel someone when they make a mistake or engage in just a willful wrongdoing of any sort. But when people are trying to do the right thing, there's no acknowledgement at all. So it's just something that I want people to be aware of and to think about. All right, so I would love to get some more engagement from those who are among the base of viewers. You know, tell me what your thoughts are. Or at least say hello to your boy Dr. Evil. So without further ado, let's get into this torturous piece of shit. Thank you for choosing game modes that, for me, that I didn't choose. Lax Lifters, how you doing today? Lax Lifters says, politicians, quote, raising the minimum wage will allow people to spend more time at home with their kids instead of working, end quote. I believe that that is the best case scenario. Unfortunately, that isn't the practical outcome. Because if you bring the minimum wage to $15, it is still below living wage. When people were advocating for it's still the base case scenario, even if that's the argument against it, Lax. People were fighting for a $15 minimum wage over a decade ago. Right?
Team deathmatch.
The fact of the matter is, over the last 10 years, the cost of living has dramatically increased. Wow.
We're falling behind.
I don't know why I'm chasing this guy. Oh, come on. It takes so long to reload that weapon. Well, I know you're still in here. As you guys know, I play this map like a bitch. When you say NYC needs 30 hours, you mean 30 hours in a day? Oh, wow. He stops in the window and then aims down sight. What a fucking bum.
Hostiles pipeline is...
Bitch. Oh, I ran out of ammo. $30 per hour. Yeah. Probably more. You know, my rent is considered cheap at $2,000 a month. So fucking bum-ass kids.
Hostiles pipeline established overhead. We've pulled ahead.
Where's my gun? I need the ammunition. Fuck you. Fucking bum. Wow, I'm just shooting him. I'm just shooting him, everybody. Just shooting him. I really like how the guy just runs through shotgun shells in his stomach. He just runs through shotgun shells in his stomach. And I'm being shot in the back.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
Wow. Wow. Fucking bum.
Enemies destroyed.
It takes too long! Fuck, man. Wow, he has 2 grenades. You're a bum-ass bitch. That's why y'all losing. That is why you are losing. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just shooting you. You'll be alright. Yep, the guy watching me spawn.
Multiple enemy spy plane contacts.
Tu madre, that was too close.
Fucking bum. Takes fucking 3 minutes to reload. Fuck out of here. Oh, shit. I was about to give you the business.
Hostile spy plane established overhead. Mission goals are in sight. Take the win.
There's still a
care
fucking
package
bomb
above.
anyway.
Cruise missile inbound.
Oh my god.
Multiple hostile spy planes detected.
Give me your shit.
Enemy cruise missile launch detected. Hostile sentry turret active.
Yeah, yeah, so, the rent here in NYC is pretty crazy. I mean, I never thought, growing up, I would look at an apartment, a 2-bedroom for $2,800 and be like, yo, that's a great price. But that's real dollars and cents going out. And they say, well, if you can't afford to live in your city, just move. It ain't that easy for people who don't have financial privilege. It's not just that easy. Get up and move. And then, if everyone is priced out of their apartments in New York City, let's say they got rid of everybody. If they just got rid of everybody who makes less than $150,000 a year in this city, who's going to make your fucking coffee and pick up your fucking dry cleaning? Who's going to do your fucking dry cleaning? Oh, just leave. Oh, just get up and move. Oh, just do this. Oh, just do that. If people could go somewhere, yeah, I'm not playing against a 4-man. If it was so easy to do, people would fucking do it. Wait a minute. I didn't put this aerial vehicle bullshit in here. Oh, I got the triple kill. That's why. We're not doing any of that vehicle shit. It doesn't look like I'll be getting any more. Half of these are about vehicles. And there's supposed to be new daily challenges every day. But, it's all bullshit. And it says 250 assist score. But when I call in my score streaks and get assists, they don't count them. I guess I'll just put that one on for show. Not that it fucking matters. Whatever. So, Laxlifter says, it makes sense if you do not drive, like owning a car with gas. Payment and insurance can be like $700 a month. My payment and insurance is $999 a month. But, I drive a different caliber of vehicle than most people, so I was prepared to take on that kind of financial burden. So I'm not complaining. I mean, even the people that don't have vehicles, public transportation, the cost of public transportation just keeps going up and up and up. I remember when a token was 75 cents. Now they're making it like $3.50 per ride. When they first came out with the unlimited Metro card, wow, they really want me to play against fucking 3-man and 4-man parties. I remember when they first came up with the concept of the unlimited Metro card, where you would pay, I believe it was $71 a month.
Team deathmatch.
And
За Родину!
you know, it would go up and up and up and up and up in cost.
We're taking control. We're losing this fight.
Wow, I died instantly. And all of his shots missed. I think he hit one shot out of the 5 they gave him credit for. Amazing. Like, I have to be, like, super on point with my shots. These guys are just missing
Enemy
shots
spy
on
plane
them.
inbound.
Let's see, did he hit a shot? I don't know. A couple of those shots were questionable. Hard to tell if he actually hit those shots. Oh my god, if you don't let me... I've noticed that the zoom on my scope keeps going away.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
Did I just get a collateral? I know one of them is mad. Probably the dude in the back. He's probably pissed off. I know I would be. If I had just gotten sniped, and I'm trying to cast a dude that sniped me. And this idiot jumps in front of me while I'm trying to snipe, I would definitely be pissed off. Oh, that's a teammate.
Hostile attack helicopter inbound.
Oh, that's not fun. Oh man, I just missed my... And I don't know why. I don't know why. They keep taking my zoom off when I shoot. I think that's a bug. Got him. I was just looking for 5 straight kills. A lot of people are spawning here.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
Now, if I could get another 5-piece, that'd be nice with this gun. I gotta see this. Oh, he's throwing random grenades. Wow, great. Great. What is this guy doing?
Enemy cruise missile launch
Oh my. How is that an insta-kill? It don't make any sense, man. That doesn't make any sense. How that's an insta-kill.
Enemy counter spy plane inbound. Enemy spy plane inbound.
Okay, cool.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
Oh my god. I wasn't even near it. I wasn't even near it. I hate this fucking game, man.
Hostile counter spy plane established above.
Wow. Did I just shoot through my teammate and the shot not count? That is not a Call of Duty feature. Fucking stupid.
Up your game or face the consequences. Hostile spy plane established overhead.
To this window?
There's no winning this.
Guess not.
The conflict, exit Hudson.
Estoy now. We are done.
So anyway, yeah, so, you know, back in the day, I remember when they made the, the unlimited Metro card, like $71. You know, that comes out to like, you know, if you rode it like every day, it's like $2 and change per day. So people could save money. And they just kept going up and up and up and up and up. And now, I think they got rid of the weekly pass. They got rid of the 2-week pass. You know, the service doesn't get any better. But the cost keeps going up. And they can't, you know, they can't show why. They can't show why the cost keeps going up. Ooh, thank you. I appreciate you. I was brought some Gaines food.
Team deathmatch. CIA team, defend our freedom. Pulling ahead.
Ooh, lots of hit
We've fallen behind.
Let's see. Wow. Yeah, he was... there's no way that they could have given me credit for 3 shots there, because then they would have had to give me the kill.
We're in the lead.
There's no way that I hit 2 shots out of that burst without the 3rd one. Wow, I missed that shot. Wow, I missed another one. Where'd he go? Holy crap.
Hostile RCXD in your AO. Enemy spy plane inbound.
Please don't stand in front of me. I should have died right there. I thought I was dead anyway. Fuck. Oh, I could have had that one too. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not missing these shots. But what I am saying is that if it was the enemy, I would have been given credit for hitting that shot. Yeah, I don't let those slide. If I could hit that shit, I'm going to. That's what he said. I pulled the trigger too. I pulled the trigger too. Yep. So I'm not surprised at all that they gave him that kill. Not surprised in the least. I ain't even zoom in for you. I'm just glad that I got the I'm just glad that I got the fucking combo that I wanted.
Sentry turret ready to fire. Baker requesting napalm strike.
And they're gonna spawn them right where I killed them too. Anybody catch that? Oh my god. Oh wow.
Semtex Prime.
Wow. A hit marker through the door after he was almost dead already. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Fuck you. Got it. Good job, team.
Almost there. Hold fast, people.
That is the ugliest sounding airplane I've ever heard. That Widener guy stopped trying to scrap with me.
Great job, CIA. No muss, no fuss.
Textbook.
His aim is terrible. Or maybe I'm underestimating him because of the recoil. That shit did look pretty ugly. The only part of Texas that had issues with power is El Paso, Texas. It is not even part of the It's not even part of ERCOT. In 2011, after a snowstorm, they updated their generators and plants. So,
HVA, you represent the
from
people.
what I'm seeing, there are people all over Texas who are suffering.
We've pulled ahead.
Oh my god. I'm getting mad hit markers on sniper shots. Okay, are you gonna like move?
This isn't working.
what?
We are behind.
Wow, I'm getting a lot of hit markers right now. And people are watching me spawn. The game just started. We're not even a minute into the game and they're watching me spawn.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
The game's not even a minute old and they're already watching me spawn into the game.
We've taken the lead. We've fallen behind.
Instantly dead.
We're
Wow.
taking control.
So, I've got 3 bullshit deaths in this game. And I count the first one as bullshit. Because I got 2 hit markers with a fucking sniper rifle. And of course, they're watching us spawn. They're spawning in our spawn.
Enemy cruise missile launch detected. We are losing the advantage.
And he's standing in our spawn. Because they're spawning in our spawn. And
We are pulling ahead.
I'm taking this kill too. Alright, I'm standing in the spawn. Is an enemy gonna spawn here with me? Yep. I hear him in our spawn.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
Wow, for once I had a legitimate death.
Destroy your field mic.
Why? Because he spawned in our spawn.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
He just watched me spawn. Yeah, this is the last game. I've been here an hour. I was supposed to do something for the hour. I'm getting off this shit.
Enemy spy plane inbound.
Yep. They're spawning in our spawn. Yeah, right. Complete bullshit. One shot. Oh, wow. The shotgun I never get a one-shot kill with. Is anybody watching me spawn? Yep.
Enemy spy plane inbound. Patrol inbound. We're ahead. Don't let up.
Nah, they're probably gonna spawn behind me.
Net call. Hostile air patrol detected. Victory. The
Yeah, I'm
GDR
getting
owes
up
you a
off
debt
this
of
shit.
gratitude.
TACOM, we have...
Oh, correction. The only part of Texas that had no issues was El Paso. I was about to say, there were too many people. There were too many people suffering for there to only be like a handful of people. Traditionalist. Wow. How you doing, buddy? What I'll do is I'll continue to try to I'll have a little bit of a conversation with you guys before I sign off. All right, so let me read what you wrote, Lax, in the context of the correction that you made. The only part of Texas that didn't have issues with power is El Paso, Texas. It is not part of ARCOT, or Electric Reliability Council of Texas. In 2011, after a snowstorm, they updated their generators, plants, and equipment to be anti-freeze to take temperatures of up to negative 10 degrees. I don't know if that's centigrade or Fahrenheit. You do need to decipher between the two. The distinction between the two needs to be noted. After criticism that it was expensive, overregulated, and buying into the climate change myth, it goes to show truth always wins. It shows that deregulation can be dangerous since corporations will cut corners to make profits. Does that surprise anyone? Does that surprise a single soul watching the stream tonight? He said degrees America. So we're talking about Fahrenheit. So, yeah. El Paso's probably got heat. And the rest of Texas doesn't. And again, we are not buying into the notion that some people deserve to suffer for any reason. We're not going there. But it does show you how it does show you, what happens when your policies are either politically or profit driven. I think that most of Texas probably laughs at people in, let's say, New England. Blind Bat, how you doing tonight? Yeah, El Paso, Texas, is the only ones with the power, right? But I'm pretty sure that most of the people in Texas laugh at us in the Northeast. We're buried under, 10 to 40 inches of snow, depending on where you live. And, I mean, how many inches did they really get? Like 7, 8, maybe? Does somebody have that information? So, the proof is in the pudding, is it not? Yeah, let's talk about Senator Cruz for a second. Senator Cruz was spotted at the airport heading for Mexico. Now, he's always talking that shit about Mexicans, but when there's no power, he's getting on an airplane for Mexico. It just kind of shows the really ugly hypocrisy that we are seeing in the world. The doublespeak, the actions that do not match up with your rhetoric. Cruz is one of those Republicans that believes in America first and blah, blah, blah. But when it came down to it, when the chips were down in his home state, he chose to fly over the border wall that he campaigned for. Why are you heading to Cancun, Mexico, when, none of Mexicans' finest are there, right? They're all drug dealers and cartels and rapists, right? You were on board with Trump when he was talking that nonsense. Then why didn't you stay in your frigid-ass living room like everyone else in Texas? To show that American can-do spirit. What happened to that? Lax Lifter says, his last tweet before he left, quote, "The blizzard has knocked power out in Texas. This is not good," end quote. Then he fled away. Cowardice, anyone? Does that sound like cowardice to you? Does that sound like someone who believes in America? It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And just like some of those on the left are cheering because of what they perceive to be a bunch of people suffering on the right, you got this guy on the right who left them high and dry. Manny says, and welcome to the stream, Manny. That reminds me of when our mayor was campaigning for president last summer while half of Manhattan was without power. I mean, if you want to seem presidential, you rush back to even if you're not an electrician by trade, you have to at least show your fucking face, right? Lax Lifter says he gave away the spot to meet up when the apocalypse happens. I think all the politicians have their secret meetup escape pod. They have bunkers in Nebraska, in Wyoming. They have them all over the place. A seditionalist wants to know how supporters of Ted Cruz are going to excuse him for it. They're going to say stuff like capitalism and bootstraps and America for why he fled to Mexico. After all that shit that he talked about Mexico and the Mexican people, they should have been like, nah, son. You stay your ass over there. It's absolutely shameful what we're seeing in society today. We got motherfuckers intentionally putting Gorilla Glue in their hair so, they can go viral on social media. Man, I just can't. I just can't. Every time I feel like I'm about to have a little bit of faith in the people that inhabit our society, we see stupid shit like there was a news report out of Florida that this dude was engaged to a woman, and after I guess after the engagement ends, he went into her house and robbed her of her jewelry, including the engagement ring that he gave her to give as an engagement ring to another woman. Lex, these people would gladly lay down their lives for the ideology that has consumed them. Those would be the people who would volunteer for the position of the peasant that would allow himself to be used as a human footstool for the nobility if we lived in those times. We have people that constantly vote against their own self-interest. Every single voting cycle, we see poor people vote in favor of the rich people. What? You think they're going to give you some of their riches if you come and you cape for them? Nah, son. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. For those that are just joining us tonight, I've already had my fill of Black Ops Cold Sore. I've had enough of Call of Duty herpes gameplay. In the last match that I played, I got 2 hit markers off sniper shots, upper body sniper shots, and then I instantly die. And as soon as I respawn, I'm being shot at less than 1 minute into the game. So I'm done with the bullshit, but I still want to interact with you, the viewer. If you're in Twitch and you want to join this conversation, you may join this conversation right now. The bulk of the conversation is happening on the YouTube side. The great Daft Git 69. How are you doing today? Thank you for making yourself known. I appreciate you. Lex Lifter says, poor GOP people, quote, billionaires are smart and they deserve their money, end quote. We have people, the common American is 400% more productive than the common American was 50 years ago, yet real wages are exactly the same as they were 50 years ago. So, your common American is working 4 times harder and or 4 times smarter and or a combination of those two things. And they're not being compensated for the work that they've done. And they think that it's okay. If college is taken care of, it will make a degree less valuable because more people will have one. That's one way to look at it. There's a reason why they keep trying to put obstacles to a college education. There's a reason. And when they've taken away some of the obstacles, what have they done? They've added bullshit courses about, minority gender studies, which does not push innovation in our society. Teach a history class. But your degree shouldn't be in, fucking, clitoral studies. I don't need to see a bachelor's degree in clitoris studies. Science, technology, math, engineering. Blind Bat, people are not just voting for the people that are going to keep them down. They're voting for policies that inhibit their ability to pursue happiness in this country. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all that stuff. They support they support policies that go directly against that. We have a bunch of people who have been struggling during the Rona, and people are like, don't give us anything. Let us starve to death. Why? Because only the strong survive. America. We're number 1 in preventable deaths related to poverty. We're a first world country that has a bunch of people still starving in it. Number 1! What does that do? What does that do for us? So, I kind of feel like there's kind of an intentional watering down of the college degree. to come up with bullshit to make people think that they are more intelligent than they are, and then they go out into the world and they spout their parroted, regurgitated philosophies out onto the rest of us. And that's supposed to help society. Me understanding every possible microaggression and every single variant of the new 13,704 genders that they've created out of the thin blue fucking sky. Is that going to push us forward? Like, what is that materially providing? So I feel like they've intentionally watered down the college degree to try to keep the barriers in place up to make sure that the caste system stays where it is. Blind Bat says Texas electric bills went way up. I don't understand why that would be the case. Why the fuck would that be the case? Why the fuck would you be charging me more money for services you're not rendering? Not good with that. Not good with that at all. GOP stance as far as lax lifters is concerned is stimulus is no good. I would rather starve instead. GOP after Trump supports $2,000 checks. Yes, he's helping us, and this is great. When Bernie Sanders wants to do 2,000, this ain't Cuba. This ain't China. This is not the USSR. That's a pretty interesting observation. The support for $2,000 stimulus checks went way up after Trump started touting it. And it's interesting that Trump only began touting that once he knew he lost the election. So he's like, well, money talks and bullshit walks, right? So yeah, $2,000. But he wasn't saying that shit before the election. He was saying that shit after the night of the election when the mail-in ballots kept getting counted. He's like, oh, wait, hey, wait, hey, if all else fails, hey, people will support me if I give them $2,000. Hey, McConnell, the guy that I've been working to keep people oppressed in middle America. Yo, come on, man. Dole out those $2,000 checks. And McConnell was like, well, I'm a turtle. I'm a turtle. What do you expect from a turtle? You can't get $2,000 checks from a turtle. I don't really know. I don't know. Lax Lifter is asking thoughts on Yang Gang People's Bank of New York. I think it'll be interesting if he wins the mayorship, because the Rona has effectively knocked out a large portion of the tax base. So where the city government would get $1,000 a month or whatever the number, the number that he was suggesting that people get every month to kind of, I guess, give them a little bit of air to breathe. Yeah, I think he has a lot of forward-thinking ideas. I think that you're talking about the a bank that is more customer-centric? Hey, the bank that I use has been very anti-consumer since the Rona started. They've done a bunch of foul shit to me, and I've been a customer of theirs since 2003. I've been a customer of this particular bank for over 20 years. Company's $2,000 stimulus. Try $2 trillion stimulus for the companies. But for the average American, you know, basically sink or swim. Sink or swim. You know, Trump needing $2,000 checks. You know, from what we're hearing, Trump is in a lot of fucking trouble. Financially speaking. We all know the legal woes that he faces. But I guess he believes that he's going to be able to run for president from a prison cell, because I think that Southern District of New York and Letitia James, I think that, you know, she's, you know, gathering up a bunch of evidence. Actually, in 2003, Boost Mobile was not a thing. Nextel was actually still a company that was separated. They were not purchased by Sprint at that point. Back in 2003, people were actually holding up the Nextel push-to-talk feature that was being used on a lot of work sites. And you needed, like, your credit needed to be pristine. You needed pristine credit, and the phones were like super expensive for the time. If you had a Nextel phone and you flipped that shit open, people turned to look, and this is before the days of the iPhone. So I think Boost came several years later, and then it became one of those hood things, because the thing is, once the rappers were, you know, talking about, you know, Nextel sell Roam. What was it, Nas? He said Nextel sell Roam. Got a chopper phone, heliport in my home. You know, when they were talking about that kind of shit, you know, Nextel was the big thing. So, of course, you know, when they wanted to make the prepaid version of it, it's like, hey, let's take advantage of these niggas and their money. Let's get that nigga money. And then they came out with the Boost Mobile with the push to talk feature, and then they had that legendary, if not infamous, tagline, "Where you at?" So those were very interesting times. And then, you know, the Sidekick with the two-way pager. Because before the Sidekick, they had two-way pagers. And they had that in all the rap music videos. And then I believe it was T-Mobile that got the contract with HTC to create the Sidekick. And the rest was history. I loved me a fucking flip phone with the keyboard. I had a HTC 6800, I believe. It was Windows Mobile's phone. It was a Windows Mobile phone. Khalil Mecca joins us. How you doing today? Yeah. I used to love, you know, having that full physical QWERTY keyboard. If they created an iPhone that had a full QWERTY keyboard, I'm buying that shit. I don't give a fuck how much it costs. You give me a Galaxy Note with the slide up. You slide the shit up and it's got the full QWERTY keyboard. You're getting my money. I don't care how many times I swore off ever buying shit from you. You give me a physical keyboard. We're we on some shit. But getting back to the topic. Seditionalist said, don't know about the effects of the Rona in the U.S., but over here, both businesses and politicians are shouting we're in the biggest financial crisis ever, and billions are being splurged on business stimulus. Well, we're having trillions splurged on business stimulus. However, bankruptcy is at an all-time low. Retail space vacancy is at an all-time low. Real estate is at an all-time high. Interest rates are at an all-time low. So interest rates are starting to rise here in the United States. Credit ratings are on the rise because a lot of people were very fearful of their standings, because so many people expect to be, if their credit rating is going to have a huge impact on whether or not they are going to be able to find a place to live once the eviction moratoriums are lifted here in the United States. So a lot of people took their stimulus money and killed credit card and loan debt to try to put themselves in a position to have some kind of financial safety net as far as how they are seen by the three credit bureaus plus FICO. You could say, Killa Emeka, that newer generations will not understand the struggle, but they weren't really struggles. I love those fucking keyboards. Stadislinus says, by the way, did you guys catch the chip crisis in the automotive industry, further skyrocketing PC-related stuff? Can anyone explain how the automotive industry is pumping out those numbers right now? Right now, we're having a problem with all technology providers of consumer goods. They are all struggling right now because there's not enough silicon. So at the very beginning of the stream, I talked about a fitness company that I took advantage of many years ago so that I can get swole in my house. The name of the company is called Iron Master. So I'm going to mention this again so you guys understand the context in which I speak. So Iron Master provides people with adjustable dumbbells anywhere between 2.5 and 45 pounds. They have another variant that goes between 2.5 and I'm talking about 2.5 pound plates, all the way up to 75 pound dumbbells. And then they have these extender kits, which can up the weight to 120. And then they have another one that will expand it to 165 pounds per dumbbell. And I chose this company because I thought that, just dealing with iron and steel would probably be the long term, the long range way to go. Because if you look at the more popular Bowflex Select Tech, they're all made of cheap plastic. So you slip, if the dumbbells slip out of your hand, all your money's gone. When you go to use them, they're banging into the side of your leg or your shoulder, your chest, because they're plastic and they're kind of hollow. You have to, the dumbbells are like so much larger than they actually need to be for the weight that they are. So I wanted something that was going to be durable. I wanted something that was going to last, a long time and not take up a lot of space in my home. And I've moved like 3 or 4 times with them. And they've got very, very minor the word I'm looking for is cosmetic. They have very minor cosmetic damage to them. They're made super well. When you go on their website today, almost every bit of equipment that they sell that's of consequence, all sold out. In fact, it's so bad that they don't even have a waiting list. You have to go on a waiting list for a lottery to be able to get their product. Is that because they're so popular? That might be 3% of it. The problem is they can't have a lot of workers in their factory. So they're not able to create the product while demand is also skyrocketed because people don't trust the gyms anymore. I'll work out in my goddamn house. I don't have any problem with that. So a lot of people are wondering, like, well, you know, they couldn't give their product away. In fact, I paid $150 less for the same product that they're charging for right now. They're not giving away any discounts right now because of the market forces that are at play. So if you don't have the ability to produce and the demand is high, you've got a problem. So when you look at the chip crisis, a lot of the silicon that would normally go to Ford or GMC or, you know, whoever's building this shit, right now it's going to NVIDIA. Why? Because everybody wants to mine Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin. You know, my PC people, I'm not talking about politically correct. My personal computer people, can you just walk into a store or go online and buy an RTX 3090 right now? No, you can't. So, can you go into a store and buy an RTX 3080? No. 3070? No. 3060? No. And NVIDIA is nerfing those cards to make them less of a go-to for these miners. Daft says, in Best Buy, last time they had no graphics cards except, what is that, the GTX 710? Yeah. I would probably think that it's a piece of shit today. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's funny because I wanted to upgrade my Elgato game capture. I have the HD60 Pro, which is a PCIe card, a PCIe capture card. And I have a GTX 980 Ti that I've had for 5, maybe going on 6 years. I cannot upgrade to the 4K 60 Pro or the Mark II because it only supports GTX 10XX and above, and of course all the RTX stuff. So even though I have, which many people would agree is still a pretty good graphics card, I mean, a 980 Ti, it's not bad. I just missed a cutoff point. In fact, I think a 1060 would run the 4K 60 Pro, but not the 980 Ti. Go figure. So, I just, what am I supposed to do? I don't have it right now in the budget to, you know, spend $4,000 on a new tower equipped with a 3090. Although, if I was irresponsible, I could dump that on a credit line somewhere. But no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. So, you know, it is what it is. Lax Lift is talking about consoles. That is what I think about consoles. There will be a point where just having a device to play on and missing out on mining, work, etc. will not make sense, and the console makers will have to provide a commercial use for their product. Both Sony and Microsoft make PCs also. I disagree with that. I disagree with that because there are there's so many people that are stuck in lockdown that there's a demand for entertainment, pure entertainment that was not there before. So, yeah, I have to say I just can't agree with that. If I could find a PSP with an emulator, I'd be buying that shit. People have this renewed transfixion on entertainment because people are struggling with their mental health. You can get that entertainment on a PC, but PCs are just not. We live in the microwave generation, or the second or third microwave generation, where people want to just pop it in, press a couple of buttons, and voila, they've got their entertainment. People who are fans of Louis Rossmann are going to build their own PCs and give a shit about the components. You and I, we care about that. The common consumer, absolutely not. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They got people buying sex dolls and robots and shit simply because they don't want to deal with drama or anything that may further complicate their lives, because let's face it, life is already very complicated as it is. To be honest, I gained a newfound appreciation for my electronic shit during this shortage craze. Yeah, I'm glad I have a 980. I'm glad I have a 980 Ti. Lax Lifter said, I did not think about it. Just getting the quick fix is why the Nintendo Switch and Wii are so popular. I mean, if you think about why the Nintendo Switch has gone up in sales in the past, I don't know, since they released the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S, a lot of people are like, well, I want to buy a PS5. I'm not going to pay $1,600 for it. So I want something. Oh, Nintendo Switches are in stock. And then, they're supposed to be creating a pro version of the Nintendo Switch, which is, supposed to give you a little bit of 4K action. So, they're getting a little bit more in the way of popularity, just simply because, people just want to find some shit to do. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there were a bunch of people with PS4s that have played the shit out of PS4 games, or they bought Black Ops Groin Kick and then saw that the game was shitty, which is why I'm not playing it right now. Yes, this is supposed to be a COD live stream, but the game is so fucking bad, I had to stop playing it. To have somebody watch me spawn into the game 40 seconds into the game and I die instantly, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done for the evening with this bullshit. I'm just going to talk to my viewers. So for those that are just joining up, we're having a conversation about, we're having a little bit of a social commentary conversation with the viewers who are on the YouTube side of things. We've got the great Daft Git 69 over on the Twitch side, and we've got nobody on the Facebook side, and that's okay. So we're having this conversation. Again, we were not able to have Black Power Magic Hour tonight, so I wanted to make sure that I pushed out some sort of content for people who would normally be watching what would be the end of the show, or nearing the end of the show at this point. So I wanted to have this conversation with you guys, and also remind you that by hook or by crook, the Talking Shit podcast is coming soon. It is coming. If I can't get what I need from someone that I am paying good money to give me what I need. If I can't get what I need from that person, I will go somewhere else so that I can get what I need done so I can launch this podcast. And then you guys can tell all your friends and all your foes that we've got constructive free speech on this platform. Don't think you have a boomer audience at all. There's a small contingent. There's a small contingent. I know that for a fact. Again, for those that's just joining, Black Ops Growing Kick is a piece of shit, and I had to stop playing it, so I'm having a conversation with you, the viewer. So if there are any subjects that you want to bring up that you want to discuss in the YouTube or in the Twitch side of the stream, because we are simulcasting on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. I'm on all three right now. Anything that you want to discuss, we're having those discussions today. We've talked a lot about the people who are struggling in Texas right now. We're talking a little bit about politics. Now we've gotten a bit into technology. So yeah, anything that you want to bring up, any political view that you want to have voiced, you want to have it heard and discussed without being shamed, without being insulted. You can say what you want to say here as long as whatever you're posting is in good faith. And if you're going to troll, be original and be entertaining. Those are the rules that I have here. All right. So what's new today is obsolete tomorrow. I think you're starting to see that what we thought was obsolete today is now coming back around because people are now looking at the four walls and they're like, shit, maybe I should pick up a fucking book and learn a new skill or what have you. I don't think anybody thought that when, New York started to shut down on March 16, 2020, I don't think that we thought that we would still be here right now. An excellent question from Seditionalist. Let's talk about my professional life. Seditionalist asks, how are your Zoom fitness classes going? Well, for one, I do sessions. I don't do classes. I work one-on-one. And I don't use Zoom at this point. I've used Google Duo with a client who works for Google. So, of course, he wants to do Google Duo. Shout out to my main man, Alan. And FaceTime. I've been doing FaceTime. So you guys can make fun of me for having a MacBook Pro. But I'm making money using that MacBook Pro. So I will tell you that, when I first started working with my clients remotely, I felt like I had to give them some sort of discount because I did not think that I could offer the same level of service or a comparable level of service that I hold myself to as a trainer. And I spoke to a couple of dear mentors of mine who I've worked for in the fitness industry, and they had to kind of outline for me all of the difficulties I face as a trainer not being there, especially since I teach in 4 dimensions. So, in the beginning, when you're working with people, we already addressed that, Blind Bat, but we'll come back to that again. Blind Bat is asking about the mayor of Colorado City, Texas, that had to resign for his callous response to the people suffering, his constituents that were suffering in the wake of the massive snowstorms and blizzard conditions in the state of Texas. Okay, so back to Seditionalist's question. I had a lot of trouble in the beginning trying to wrap my mind around my own value as a trainer. And then I realized that I had to adapt my way of teaching. I had to expand the way that I teach, and I had to get results from my clients without the benefit of equipment in some cases. A couple of my clients who are related to each other, they have the funds to leave the cold environment pretty much when they want to. So, they went down to Florida, and I had to teach them with only their bodies as equipment. And you're talking about, we know that women don't have the same access to upper body strength that men have. But I had to reinvent myself as a trainer. And I had to make sure that they do not fall in certain areas and that they progress in others. And let me tell you, when I talk to you about how proud I am as a trainer, I have a tiny lady who I've been working with. I think this is our 3rd year working together. When I tell you that I was able to get sets of 25 push-ups out of this woman, nothing will make a trainer proud than having a woman bust out a set of 25. Nothing really feels quite as good for a trainer like myself than to get her sister from only being able to do something that looks like the worm one time on a push-up. And now I've got her doing, I think I did burnout sets with her. One of her burnout sets, she worked up to 14 repetitions. And we've only resumed training in the last 3 months or so. And she went from a shitty 1 rep to banging out multiple sets of double digits in 3 months. And when I'm talking about push-ups, I'm not talking about them little bullshit, hey, put your knees on the ground. I don't believe in that. Especially if you're going to talk to me about gender equality. Well, if you want to be equal, then I'm going to train you equal. You're not going to get any, special, oh, you're just a girl. No, you're going to get down and do the motherfucking push-ups because only a push-up is a push-up. That knee in the ground shit, what the fuck is that? That ain't real. So I train my women to be strong. And when I tell you that they are fucking strong, holy fucking shit. My tiny client, was busting out sets of, I think I got her up to 8 pull-ups in a set. And I told her, I was like, do you know what the bottom requirement is for male Navy SEALs? 6 pull-ups. And if you saw this little tiny Jewish woman, you would not look at her and think, oh, she's busting out reps. You're not looking at her and thinking, oh, yeah, she's repping out. But I gets the shit done. Now, I'm in a position where when the Rona ends, I could train people in person. I can train people remotely. I could train anybody in this fucking comment section. So, when you ask me, well, how are they going? I will say, they're doing pretty goddamn good. But if you asked me at the beginning of the Rona, I did not know. But you know what? I hate to use I hate to use this classist dog whistle, but I had to pull myself up by my bootstraps. I had to get innovative. I had to look at myself differently. I had to look for reasons why I was going to succeed. I had to do it. Carbon0520, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. We're just having conversations here. Because Black Ops Nutkick is just a shitty game. We will get to the great Daft Gits question in a second. And I will answer that question in full. If I have the time. But I want to go back to what Blind Bat was asking about. How about the guy who said only the strong survive and the weak perish? He's the type of guy where I would kick him in his motherfucking dick and then tell him only the strong survive as I bash him in the back of the head with a fucking hammer. He's that kind of guy. And then, as his life force is draining away, oh yeah, only the strong survive. Hey, asshole. We don't live in that world. We're not, in the fucking caves. We're not doing that. We don't live that way. We don't live that way, asshole. And you ask the people of Colorado City, Texas, they look to you for leadership. And your response is, I'm not a leader. Go fuck yourself? Oh, yeah, resigning was the right thing to do, buddy. That was the right thing to do. But here is where I draw the line. Here's where I draw the line. Lax Lifter says, did you hear how his wife lost her job? And he was all crying over it. I would never do anything to cause someone to lose their job and harm their family. Yet he had no problem to tell people to kick rocks when they needed help. We have to draw a line somewhere. This is the second time I've heard of a spouse losing their job over what somebody else said. Now, most of you already know I'm very much anti-cancel culture. I do not support the firing of Gina Carano. Oh, that must mean that I'm alt-right. No, I lean left. But I also understand that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if you're picking up your right foot, eventually the left foot is going to have to be picked up. Right? So here's the problem that I have with this woman losing her job and that other woman losing her job. Here's the problem I have with that. When I reminded people that I actually respect who were cheering for Gina Carano to lose her job, I uttered two words. You ready? Colin Kaepernick. Right? The same people who hate cancel culture are still protesting Colin Kaepernick working out to prepare himself to re-enter that league, that professional sports league. They hate cancel culture, but they want him to remain unemployed. Right? But then when you remind people on the left about Colin Kaepernick, oh, well, it's okay that Gina Carano lost her job because we don't agree with her opinions. But what about Colin Kaepernick? Oh, well, he's on the right side of history. He's still unemployed. So what happens if the left is not in power and then the right is in power? You have, I don't know, Donald Trump Jr. as president and the GOP or the Patriot Party holds control of the Senate and the House of the Representatives. And they start rewriting laws And then the things that you say can have you lose your job. When you say, I think that such and such should have equal rights to other people, and you lose your job, are you going to be good with that? And you're going to tell me no. And you're going to say, well, A, it's my opinion, and B, I'm on the right side of history. Well, why the fuck do you think Gina Carano said what she said? Because she thinks she's on the right side of history. Do you think that people come up with these opinions because they think they're wrong? Are you so haughty that you believe that even the people who oppose you think you're right and think they're wrong? It doesn't work that way in society. And when you start going after people's livelihoods because they hold a different view of a different view from you, and their view, you didn't even listen to what the fuck they said. In the case of this asshole who should have resigned from mayor, we don't know anything that his wife said. We haven't heard anything from her, yet she loses her job? What the fuck is that? Like, we're finding new ways to harm people. And seditionalists, you're 100% correct. To be on the right side of history, you need to be on the winning side of the future. And what has the history books always shown us? To the victor goes the spoils. The winners, the conquerors, write the history books. Can you imagine what the history books would look like if the Axis won World War II instead of the Allies? Do you think that the history books would be writing Adolf Hitler as a villain? Or would he be, some major hero deity that cleansed the world of all of us darkies? Because that would be the only ideology that they would know. So, people are constantly trying to moralize the world. But understand that the people on the other side, they're also trying to moralize the world. Why do you think they don't want you to have access to birth control and abortion? Because they think that taking a moral stand, they believe that they are on the right side of history. So what happens when that party comes into power? What happens then? And you start losing your job because you believe that gay rights is human rights and trans rights is human rights. And you say that on Twitter, or if Twitter goes away and the only thing left is Parler, and they start kicking you off of social media, and you start losing your jobs because you say that, disabled people should have rights. How are you going to feel then? Are you going to stand on your high and mighty and say, well, I'm on the right side of history as I'm being evicted from my home because I'm no longer employed? No. You're going to say, I should be allowed, and rightfully so, you're going to say, I should be allowed to speak my mind, even if I don't agree with the prevailing opinion. That's what we black people have had to deal with on this land. That's what gay people have had to, deal with since forever. A lot of people believed for a very long time. There are people that believe that homosexuality was a mental illness. It was in the DSM-4 as a mental illness because the prevailing opinion was heterosexual people on the right side of history. Do you see how that works? Now, if you want to say to me, you know what? It's my right to support This show, I won't watch The Mandalorian anymore. I never watched that shit anyway. I don't give a fuck about Star Wars. I don't give a single fucking fuck. Drop the dislike button. Make sure you smash the dislike button. I don't give a fuck about that show. Never did. Never watched a single iota of the show. Like, less than 0 fucks given. Right? But if you want to tell me, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm just not going to watch the show anymore. That is your goddamn right. But you step over the line when your feelings interfere with someone else's rights. You interfered with somebody else's right to be employed in their profession. Now, if you just went online and you said, you know what? I don't agree with this. I'm not watching the show no more. I would 100% be right there with you. All right. You exercise your right to free speech and your ability to spend your disposable income wherever the fuck you want. That's American. But you cross the line when you start campaigning for people's fucking jobs. Your rights to your feelings go all the way up until you start infringing on my rights. Lobbying companies to fire people is wrong. No matter what your fucking opinion is, no matter what brand of morals that you subscribe to, it's wrong. It was wrong when people were doing it to homosexuals. It was wrong when people were doing that to black and brown people. It's still wrong today because someone has a different political opinion of yours that you're not even fully listening to, because if you actually listen to what the fuck Gina Carano said, she was not comparing being a Republican today to being a Jew during the Holocaust. She was comparing being a Republican today to being a Jew in the run-up to the Holocaust, which are two different eras. She was not talking about being a Jew in 1936. She's talking about being a Jew in 1933, 1934, 1935. And what she's saying to you is, if we continue with this, we could be headed down that road again. But people were not listening to what the fuck she actually said. They just saw Republican and Jew in the same sentence and, oh, let's destroy her career. Now, from what I hear, she's a terrible actress. I remember seeing her in a Fast and the Furious movie, and I was not impressed. So I'm not caping for Gina Carano. I don't give a flying fuck about her. In fact, there are people saying, you know what? She should get back in the fucking cage. She should go back to the UFC. So I'm not saying that, oh, she's this great actress. I thought she was very stiff. What was it? The 6th Fast and the Furious movie? Or the 5th one? It was the 5th or the 6th Fast and the Furious movie where she double-crossed. So, yeah, just like Blind Bat said, your rights end where mine begin. And, you know, I think that it's really, really unfortunate. And the thing is, I believe that it's going to get worse before it gets better. People do not understand that this environment is what gave birth to Trumpism. Let's rewind the tape. Let's go back into history, shall we? Let's go back to the 8 years under Barack Obama. People got real comfortable. Oh, look, we changed the Title IX rules. Oh, look. black people in the house. Look, my president's black. Oh, you disagree with me on the minutia? You're a racist. You're a bigot. Oh, you criticize a woman for anything, whether she deserves a criticism or not? You hate women. You're a misogynist. You're a parent that hopes that your son marries a woman and has kids so that you can have grandkids. You hate, you hate gays. You're anti-LGBT, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then anytime somebody had a different opinion, they were not able to express that opinion. So you know what the fuck they did? They shut the fuck up. So they let you believe that the world was, that the United States was this liberal paradise where there was no racism and no political dissent. And then you know what happened? People very quietly went to the ballot box and they circled in the bubble next to Donald John Trump. And then they got fucking loud. And then you couldn't hear the end. Well, hey, you're a snowflake. Get over it. You lost. Even though we know that Donald Trump lost the 2016 election by over 3 million votes. In fact, he lost by such a wide margin that he was still claiming that it was rigged after he won the election. Right? So this is not to shit on liberals, right? But it's to prove the point that when you continue to demonize people who don't share your opinions, they're going to just shut the fuck up, but their opinions are not going to change. In fact, you're radicalizing many of them. I mean, think about it. When you look at the insurrection of January 6th, did you really believe that Republicans would do some shit like that? Did you think they were capable of such a thing? Because they're the party of law and order, right? They're not violent like those thugs in Chicago. This is what you're seeing, the radicalization of people who are probably pretty moderate, but then you keep throwing these pejoratives at them. You try to shame them into silence. And I mean, what have we seen? We've seen the roles of the KKK and other white nationalist organizations. They're growing. They're not shrinking. They're growing. Where the fuck do you think that's coming from? Do you know how these organizations are recruiting now? They're using the victim narrative. They're using fear-mongering tactics, the same tactics that they accuse the left of using. And it's working. So, we've got a different government now. Okay. Great. Are you going to spend the next 4 years antagonizing a large swath of the country who has more generational wealth than we do? And of course, because they have more wealth than we do, they have more political power than we do. If we continue with the same bullshit of antagonizing people that we disagree with, because if you poll most Americans, we agree on like 90% of topics. We want to continue to keep antagonizing these people. What do you think is going to happen in 2022 in the midterm? What do you think is going to happen then? The great Daft Git says, golden rule. Who has the gold rules? Seditionalist makes a nice point. We should all find some common ground right about where I'm standing. And that's basically what we're looking at in this hyper-partisan society that we inhabit today. Absolutely. That's exactly what we're looking at. But the problem is, seditionalists, we actually have more common ground than society would have you believe. I watched this breakdown of a video by a woman who she created the documentary The Red Pill. And she did a TED Talk talking about her experience, her experience as a feminist. Obviously the people that know, she no longer identifies as a feminist, although she still cares about women's rights. More on that in a second. She set out to destroy the men's rights movement. She set out to destroy men's rights advocates. She was like, I'm going to show how misogynistic and disgusting these men are. But she said, as a good documentarian, she had to ask questions and shut the fuck up. And even though she was not quite listening to what these men and some women, because yes, there are women who do care about men's rights. Even though she wasn't particularly listening, or she was, trying to take what they were saying, or she was preparing to take what they're saying and shift the narrative, the camera didn't lie. So when she went back and she reviewed the footage that she got in these interviews with these men's rights activists, she saw that not a single one of them was looking to repeal a single right that women are fighting for. Not a single one of them was advocating for having women naked, barefoot, and pregnant in the kitchen. Not a single one of them. Every men's rights activist that she spoke to supports equal rights for women. And the only thing that they were talking about were the double standards in society that work against men. So they were looking for a measure of gender equality as well. And as she began to learn about the plight of men everywhere in modern society, she stopped trying to sell a narrative, and then she let the people speak for themselves. So it's not that she's not a feminist anymore. She's not an anti-feminist. Is that she understands that if we are going to have equal rights in society, we can't just care about the plight of women. We also need to care about the plight of men. And when you get down to it, men's rights activists and feminists, we're talking about real feminists, not radical feminists who are looking for gender superiority and dominance. We're talking about real feminists here. Feminists who will tell you, okay, just care about equal rights. You'll find that they both want the same things. The problem is no one is listening to anybody who isn't parroting the same shit that they already believed. And it is no different in today's political climate. In fact, it's very, very much the same. As Traditionalist says, unfortunately, every discussion nowadays is about us versus them and how we have our own valid points without listening to theirs that aren't only valid, but often the same explained differently. I want to couch this topic because I want to get into more of the dynamic between the sexes, but I want to save that for the Talking Shit podcast. I've got a lot to say on that. And again, I hope to be launching that show before the end of the month or the beginning of next month. But I want to couch that topic. We're going to shift gears to the great Daft Git, who asked a question. Why do you like Coheed and Cambria so much? It's no secret. For those who watch Black Power Magic Hour, I wear a different Coheed shirt pretty much every stream. In fact, you can see that I'm rocking the Coheed shirt because I'm on, branding wise, I'm on Black Power Magic Hour time. So if I can preach the gospel of Coheed and Cambria, I'm going to do so. Actually, it's really funny. They released today they released a collaboration with a coffee roaster to have their own brand of coffee. Now, I don't drink coffee, and this is not going to get me to start drinking coffee. But I purchased a $1,000 coffee machine that I have to kind of wait to be delivered for my ladies. Both of my ladies are real coffee heads. And this is supposed to be like some next level coffee experience, and I want them to have that. So I dropped good fucking money. I dropped GTX 3090 money on this setup, this coffee setup. So I would love for them to be able to try the Coheed roast. But so you asked me why. So I'm going to take you back to a really dark time in the life of Dr. Evil Genius. So if we go back to, 2003. Definitely one of the worst years of my life. The abuse that I suffered at the hands of my mother was intensifying to the point where I felt that one or both of our lives would end up being in danger because I had gotten old enough and strong enough and large enough where she couldn't just bully me on size anymore. And she was becoming, she was escalating her physical violence. And I started defending myself, preventing her from inflicting that violence on me. And then I had a relative who said that they were going to help me, and it didn't work out, so I ended up homeless. That is also, later on that, so I ended up homeless. I took a job that was really, really bad for me. But I figured, well, I'm going to ask this really hot girl I've been dating to marry me. And she said that she would. So I was like, I need to work hard. So I went to work for this shipping company in the middle of the night, destroying my mind, body, and soul. She was cheating. That relationship ended explosively. And in a lot of this trauma, I saw this film that made me go looking for my father. So I reconnected with my father, who was absent most of my life for various reasons. I reconnected with my father that year, October of 2003. Started getting a little bit of wisdom. And, that was a really, really hard time for me. 2004, the Nintendo DS, the original Nintendo DS gets released, and I'm taking a little bit of nothing that I have, and I'm getting a Nintendo DS. I wanted to play Pokemon and whatever the fuck other games I was playing. And the end of 2004, going to 2005, the PSP was announced. And I traded in my Nintendo DS and all the games just to get a PSP. And I think I was able to get Darkstalkers Chronicle, which was a launch title of the original PSP. But there was a demo disc. I know you guys remember the UMDs. Not to be confused with the WMDs. Now these little UMDs. And they had a demo disc on it, and they wanted to show you that you could do more than just play video games. You can watch movies. You can load up music on a one of these fucking chips that you can put in there. You can load up music on it, and there was several bands that that was on, because I guess they were affiliated with Sony Music, so they put several bands on this demo disc. One was Crossfade. There was another band. I can't remember the name of that band, but when I hear them, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that sound. And then there was this one band which was like telling this story with this music video. Now, when I first heard the song, I was like, what the fuck is up with this guy's voice? At first, I thought it was a woman because I saw all the hair. And then when you look, the next scene, it's like, okay, that's definitely a beard. That's a dude. Why the fuck does he sound like this? But I was drawn in by the fact that it really seemed like they were enjoying shooting this video. Normally, when you see a music video and you see a rapper, it's, them standing in front of big titty bitches and Bentleys and Mercedes and shit like that, right? Bands are like, in some room somewhere, jamming out on their guitars. And then, they might do a close-up on the drummer, and that's pretty much your video. But they had this fucking zombie storyline thing that they were putting out there. Now, it was not Conchita Wurst. It was not. So it was weird. It was like, they told the story really well in the music video, because the music video had nothing to do with the song itself. But you had these, you see that, the lead singer is preparing for something, and, he's battening down the hatches, and he starts seeing people that aren't there. And then when you go towards the end of the music video, you see, these wild fucking vampire looking motherfuckers running through the woods, and he's like all prepared. He's all prepared to try to defend himself. I mean, the way that they told this visual story, even though it had nothing to do with the song, that shit had my motherfucking attention. And then, like, I watched the video so many times because, again, by this time, one of my coworkers helped me, rent a room, but I was still this fucking thin, this distance from homelessness. Of course, I couldn't afford to do anything but just play Darkstalkers constantly and just watch, and listen to whatever was on the the UMD. And then, like, I got used to the lead singer's voice. And I was just like, okay. And then I started listening to the song. The song was called Blood Red Summer. And I'm like, this is a pretty interesting kind of question he's asking. And, I don't know, like, the message of the song was, I was like, okay, all right, I could dig it. So I started looking for more Coheed and Cambria stuff. Now, this is around the time where they started to create devices where you can put, different files on there. And Sprint had this phone that they gave for free that was, had a high MSRP. The phone was like this flip phone, but you probably had, I don't know, maybe 50 megabytes, maybe. I mean, the amount of space on that they gave you to put files on it was so small. So you really can only add maybe 10 songs of middling quality. So I started, of course, like I'm working this horrible job. So it's like, maybe I could listen to music at work. So what I started doing was, well, they would, in the Sprint music store, all the songs cost the same no matter how long the song was. So I started downloading the songs that were available that were the longest. At this point, I had no idea what progressive rock was. But I wanted to have music that I could listen to for the longest bit. So I downloaded this song called In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth. And my mind was fucking blown. But what hooked me was a song called Delirium Trigger. Because I'm a really big fan of science fiction. Space type of stuff, not Star Wars. Anything but Star Wars. I could tell you I don't give a fuck about Star Wars. Make sure to hit that dislike button. So there's this song called Delirium Trigger, which when you listen to it and you visualize it, that first verse, this shit is fucking fire. It was Delirium Trigger that hooked me. So I just started looking for just the longest Coheed and Cambria songs I could find. Up until that point, this is before they released Good Apollo 1 on Burning Star 4. From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the full title of the album, which I thought was kind of interesting. But then I started to figure out that they're telling these stories, right? And so there was this one song called The Back End of Forever. And I don't want to get too emotional on you guys, but that song told the exact, I'm talking about stage for stage. It told the exact story of the traumatic breakup that I had in 2003. And then when you look, the album was released in 2003. And then I started to get this feeling like, is it possible that we were going through the same type of shit at the same exact fucking time? No fucking way. There is no fucking way he was dealing with this in this song at the same time that I was dealing with that. And then the song that comes after that is Al the Killer. Anybody that's heard that song, let me tell you, the girl wasn't white. But if you listen to the spirit of that song, that's where the fuck I was at for a while. And my friends they were there with me. People that I had known for years were like, we are going to go kill this bitch ourselves. So to see the Valorium Camper symposium that he put together at the end of the In Keeping Secrets album, I was just like, whoa, this dude is speaking my fucking life. So while those songs are not my favorite, they were the most important songs. In fact, there came a time where I just couldn't fucking listen to the songs anymore because it was too traumatic for me. And it was around this time I had a friend named Sohaila Muhammad. And I met her, I think, on like OkCupid or something. And, you know, we matched up. And it turned out to be more of like a platonic friend thing, even though I was attracted to her. She was an Egyptian woman, a young Egyptian woman, who was only in the United States because she had a rare form of melanoma that took her eye. Like they had to remove the eye from her head. So when I met her, she was in the mid stages of her cancer fight. And, you know, we maintained that friendship for several years. And, wow, I don't want to think about this, but I'm just going to tell the story anyway. Wow. She went back to Egypt and then came back. By this time, I was in the relationship that I'm in still today with, you know, the lovely first lady of the house. And I remember when she came back and she met my lady and we hung out together. I remember we were hanging out on the front stoop of where she was staying. And she took my hand and ran my hand over her body to feel the tumors that had spread throughout her body. I repressed that memory because it's very painful. And that was the last time I saw her alive. And I found out that she died on the same day that Anna Nicole Smith died. I believe that was February 8th. And I didn't find out until maybe May or June of that year. And, you know, there's a song at the end of In Keeping Secrets called The Light in the Glass. I could not listen to that song. In fact, I still do not. I do not listen to that song because it's too painful. And I think of her every single time. You know, there's a real angsty part at the end of the song where, you know, there's this where he declares, "Your father's dead. He passed in his sleep." And there was a time that I lost connection with my father for several years, and I thought that he had died. And so again, I just could not listen to that song anymore because it just hit too close to home. You know, and when you hear the emotion in the song, "Your father's dead, he passed in his sleep," and I woke to the sounds of her crying, it was too fucking much for me. So there's certain songs that are really, really important to me because of the people that I've gained, the people that I've lost in my life. It hits you right in that emotional nerve spot. And you know, it just hits too close. It just hits too fucking close. And they're as they've gone through the discography, I've found that, the writer, Claudio Sanchez himself, and I love the fact that here's the lead singer and the writer and lead and rhythm guitar who's not white. That was, he shared, because, we share, partial Puerto Rican descent, because I'm a mutt. Identify as black, but yeah, I have, part of my history comes from there. So, him also being Puerto Rican as well was kind of like, holy shit. And then I found out about Kill Switch Engage when Howard Jones was the lead singer. I was like, there's a metal band that is fronted by a black man? Holy shit. I'm a fan automatically. Because I come from the hood, which is, I grew up on jazz. I grew up on Seven Dust. No. Kill Switch Engage was the name of that band. The band still exists, but Howard Jones is not with the. He's with a band now called Light the Torch, I believe. It's the same band. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the band Devil You Know, but for some legal reason they had to change the name of the band and it became Light the Torch. Still the same fucking band. It has a very KSE-esque sound. So I bought the albums that they have and I still listen to them whenever I drive, which is never. I stay in my goddamn house. I've seen that as the discography progresses, you see that the writer is in different places in his life. And I found that my maturation as a man was going also in that direction, except for the fact that I didn't have a kid. So if you look at, the name of this album, I want to make sure I get this right. I didn't think I was going to be telling this story. My co-host caught the Rona. That's really unfortunate. But I just want to make sure I get this proper so that if you guys go looking for shit like this, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. There's an album called The Color Before the Sun. And there are some beautiful songs in this album. Like most of the a wide swath of the fan base does not like this album. But there's a song on this album that he wrote about something that is that closely approximates a midlife crisis. In fact, that's what he said. And I felt that shit. He has a song on there about the difficulties of living in New York City since he had basically moved into my backyard. He also has a song in the album where he wrote a song for his unborn son that made me emotional. And I've never really had the desire to have children, but that song changed something in me. He wrote a song for his son before he was born. And if you can't feel that, if you can't feel the realness of that, if you can't feel a father's love for his son from that, go fuck yourself. Hit that dislike button. Go fuck yourself. I mean, it's just so odd, the parallels. The first time I met him in person, the lead singer, the writer, first time I met Claudio in person was in the town that my mother forced me to move to. So I went back there to go see him sign autographs at a comic book shop. And I do not go starstruck for anybody. I went starstruck for him. I lost my goddamn mind. I grew my hair out past my shoulders, inspired by how long his hair was. Like, I was a fucking fanatic. To a large degree, I'm still a fucking fanatic. Anybody that knows me personally, you know I put good fucking money into my fandom of this band. So when they come out with something, I'm always afraid that I may not like the new album, and then I fucking love it. Right? You know, there are other stories being told. You know, and many, you know, also, like, if you know the history of the band, if you know the history of the band and the turmoil that they've had, the things that they've gone through, shout out to Michael Todd for the bomb threat that almost blew up the band. Still got love for Michael Todd. He provided a lot of enjoyment for me. And also, I gotta say, you know, me and my main lady, a lot of the bond between the two of us was built on the fandom of the band. When I met her, she only knew Welcome Home. And when I tell you I indoctrinated, I was on some Jim Jones shit. We are drinking this motherfucking Kool-Aid, okay? And then she was there for the first 4 concerts of my life. I had never been to a concert before. My first 4 concerts were 4 nights in a row. Was able to get these special tickets for a very special engagement called Never Ender. At the time, we're talking about, it's the last week of October 2008. At the time, Coheed and Cambria had 4 albums in their discography. They played every album from the intro to the outro, and then encores 4 nights in a row. $120 for a 4-night ticket. Are you fucking kidding me? $120 per person for a 4-night event to play every song that they ever made as Coheed and Cambria. The best 4-night stretch of my entire life, and I shared it with this woman who really wishes that I would end this stream so she can go to sleep. But I remember turning I remember turning to her and saying, "You can never break my heart now. You were here with me during Never Ender." And let me tell you, 11 years later, she's still here. We celebrate 15 years on April 1st. So, you know, every Coheed concert I've ever been to, she was there with me. Our other partner, our other lady, has gone to most of the shows that we've gone to since we you know, the relationship with her began in 2012. So this August would make 9 years with her. So you know, some of the shows I've been to with just me and the lady. Most of the shows have been all three of us together. And for you Louis Rossman fans out there, there was a very, very special CoD show during Comic-Con when Coheed and Cambria released their brand new album at the time, The Unheavenly Creatures. They did a very special show at the Hard Rock Cafe in Times Square. And I made sure that I got a ticket for Louis Rossman. And he had people recognizing him while we still in light. And this is back in the day when Rossman may have had maybe 450,000 subscribers or something like that. Definitely not the 1.5 million that he has today. And he showed up. In fact, he got there before I did because I got stuck in New York City traffic. Imagine trying to drive to Times Square at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. On I think it was a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday evening. Not not a good thing. And I got good parking too. So fuck y'all. So I figured that you guys would like that story. Of course, he, didn't get into it the way that I did, but he was happy to be there. Waffle by Seven Dust. I never even heard of Seven Dust. Like I said, I know Coheed. A couple of bands I know that I like Howard Jones era, Killswitch Engage. I used to like 30 Seconds to Mars until I found out that Jared Leto is kind of a creep. Chevelle is another favorite of mine. What's another one that I like? Mastodon is not really my cup of tea, but I really did enjoy what I heard from Mastodon, because they did the damn thing with Coheed, and that was pretty fucking cool. And I bought one of their albums, and I even the only band Mastodon is the only band that I bought merch, like t-shirts, like an actual t-shirt, like Type O negative R.I.P. Peter Steele. I don't understand what that means. Daft. Yeah. Yeah. So I have a very long history with the band. I've met multiple members of the band in weird situations, just out on the street or, interacting with them in different ways. I've even been asked for fitness expertise by the band's drummer, who is my favorite drummer, because he's a groove drummer, and I really enjoy the way that he drums. I mean, a lot of people will say, Neil Peart, best drummer of all time. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But Josh is my favorite drummer. Type O negative is a metal band. The lead singer is dead, Peter Steele. That's kind of depressing. It really sucks when you see a lot of these classic bands start losing band members in death. Yeah. But I think this is a good place to end the stream. Again, I appreciate y'all. I really do. for hanging out with me. I did not want to be still here at 11:30. I wanted to be off by 10:30, but you guys make it easy. You guys make it very easy to provide content for you, which is why I've been on more often, and I am committed to bringing more content to you guys. I may be on tomorrow for some more Call of Duty garbage, and maybe we might, turn it into a little bit of an interactive podcast style thing. Yeah, for sure. Traditionalists, lax lifters, thank you for making it worth sharing. These are not stories I just tell to everybody, because I really don't believe that people give a fuck. But you guys made it easy for me to share some of myself with you guys. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Look for me to be on tomorrow night in some capacity. Doing Call of Duty shit or something. We might be holding a candlelight vigil for Captain Paul, since he's got the Rona. And I feel like I know where the fuck he got it. But anyway, until the next time, be safe, stay Rona free, and I appreciate y'all.